I hope everybody has a good weekend this weekend, but I want to ask you, what is happening to our country? What is going on? We have crises at the border. We have people divided in this country worse than any other time. You know, the other day, me and my son and my wife were talking about how horrific 9/11 was, but how this country come together and bought American flags, and everybody was flying American flags, and everybody was bleeding, the same color blood, and everybody was American at that time. This country come together, and we'll never see that again, the rate we're going. We have people fighting with people, states fighting with states, the United States government thinking they're going to come in and seize the Texas National Guard and arrest Abbott, when all we're trying to do is protect the border. They're claiming that the Border Patrol isn't, we're not allowing the Border Patrol to do their job. Well, if they were doing their job, we wouldn't have the influctuation that we've had over the past couple of years of people coming into this country that we don't know who are, where they're at, or what their intentions are. Now, there are a lot of good people, but it's not just people from Mexico anymore. It's people from all over the world that's crossing that border. And then when we take a stand and we say, we're done with this, we've played y'all's game, now we're going to do the job and get it done. We remove the Border Patrol, and then we stick the National Guard down there, Texas National Guard, and then we put them down there and they start putting up razor wire. Well, what does the Biden administration do? They want to sue the state of Texas to cut the razor wire because we're not allowing the Border Patrol to do their job. Well, if they were doing their job, we wouldn't be in this position. But then they want to come down there and cut the razor wire? Wake up, people. Why does he want to cut the razor wire? What's the reasoning? I just don't understand. It's where, Abbott, all he's wanting to do is arrest single males that are coming across that border because they're age-fighting men. But yet you have so many people backing Texas and supporting Texas, but you have so many that's not. And I don't understand why you're not. We're not just protecting our home, but we're protecting yours because they use Texas as a highway. And they're coming to your state too. And if you're so gung-ho about opening that border, then open up your house. We'll be glad to send them to your home too and let them sleep on your couch. But if you have people walking through your front door or your back door, sleeping on your couch, eating your food, and not wanting to pay tribute, and you don't know who they are, what their intentions are in the house with your family, you would build a fence. You would lock your doors. You would secure your home. So what's the difference between us wanting to do that? There is none. But yet I had an individual the other night. I did a video and he said, I don't want to fight with my fellow Texans, my fellow Americans. We all bleed American. You're right. We all do bleed American. But what people don't understand is that unity that we had back on 9/11, when 9/11 happened, that's lost within America. But people don't understand, Texans, we still have that unity. We still have that passion about Texas. We still have that passion because this is our home. And we're proud that Texas is our home. Even though you think that we're just the redhead stepchild and think that we take more government funding than what we give, you don't need to believe that. In fact, the majority of your states give the federal government more money than they receive in funding. Way more money than they receive in funding. A little Google goes a long ways. But yet you criticize us for wanting to just protect our home. I'm just not understanding. And we have bigger issues. Putin wants Alaska back. What happens if Putin starts sending people over the border or over on boats? I mean, a lot of people don't understand. Russia's only 55 miles from Alaska. Start sending them over on boats, walking across the border, and Alaska wants to close down their border. Are you going to criticize them for that too? Are you going to be for it? It's the same thing that's going on our southern border, except for we're trying to stop terrorists from getting into this country. We're trying to stop the amount of drugs that are coming into this country. Now, there are some good people coming across that border, but they're not the same people they were 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. They're from all over the world, and we don't know their intentions. And like I said, they're not just staying here. They're going up north and east and west. And we're busing them up north. We're helping them get there. We want to shorten down their journeys. So I just don't understand where we lost our ways as Americans. But you think it's okay for Biden to say that he wants to seize our Texas National Guard and make our Texas government look like the enemy when all he wants to do is protect our state and our country? So who's the real enemy here? Think about that. You know, there's a majority of us that are used to walk down the middle of the road, weren't really left or right. But when you talk about putting my family and other Americans in jeopardy, that's where we cross the line. And that's where the left has gone so far left that it's left everybody in the middle of the road more to the right. And that's for a fact. There is no middle of the road anymore. You can't believe some of the ideology Democrats believe and some of the ideology that the Republicans believe. It's gotten to the point either you're right or you're left. And it shouldn't be that way. But if we allow the Biden administration to seize our Texas Guard and arrest our governor, it's unacceptable, and we can't allow that. As being not just Texans, but being Americans. Being Americans. That's what we are first. But Texans, we have a pride. We have a loyalty to our state. And it's something some of y'all will never know. But there's so many of you out there that are supporting Texans and saying you'll come and help us. If it ever gets to that point, I don't want it to get to that point. You don't want it to get to that point. But if it gets to that point, we have to stand up and fight for ourselves, because if we fold, the government has total control over everything you do. They should not be allowing our borders to be open. And since they weren't doing their job, we had to do it for them. That's not saying anything bad about the Border Patrol or the guys down there that were giving orders. They were just following orders from their commander-in-chief, which is the Biden administration. I just hate this country's being divided. I wish we all were united again. And even if there was a bad disaster like 9/11, I don't think this country would be united like we were again. I don't think you would have that same feeling, because people would be blaming each other. Half would be blaming the other half for it, instead of uniting together and trying to figure out, what do we do to fix the problem? What do we do to keep our families safe? What do we do to keep our grandchildren and our kids and our future grandchildren and future kids safe in this messed up world right now? Think about that. I've heard some of you say, oh, it's just a park. You're right, it's just a park. It's a major crossing of a park. But it's everything that built up before it got to that park. That's what you don't understand. It's everything that's built up to that point. But then when we get them across the border, we ship them up to New York and Chicago, and then they complain and blame us. Why are you blaming us? You voted for this. You wanted this. When we send them to you and it's at your front doorstep, all of a sudden we're the bad guy? We didn't vote for this. We didn't want our borders open. We don't want America to be divided as Texans. We don't want this. But if we have to do it, we'll protect our home. And there's a lot of you feel like that out there. Nobody wants this. Okay? I love y'all. God bless. Y'all have a good weekend.